I'm really delighted because one of the many topics as a CMO that I'm particularly passionate about, as I'm sure you guys are, is some of the challenges that we're now facing in the changing world of digital and a lot of the other things that are being thrown at us. I think as an increasing number of brands are using rich content to engage both employees and customers alike, there's an ongoing debate in many organisations as to whether that engagement piece internally should sit with the CMO or within the HR department. And Abi, I'm going to start with you on this question because I think one of the concepts that you have internally, the sort of council of contributors, I find really, really interesting. Could you walk us through that?
Within our organisation, we've recently been redoing the branding piece, and instead of saying it's particularly with marketing or other departments, we're effectively building almost a team or a council, as you pointed out, of contributors from across the business. So a lot of the work on the branding and the brand vision and the values has been obviously put into play by marketing and HR or talent kind of as aligned. But then as part of the rollout, what the business has been doing is we've been pulling people from across the globe together to effectively become the ambassadors, and they are from all different departments, different offices, different ages. So, it's very a diverse range of people, but we're effectively branding by committee, as it were. But it's a way of us making sure that we're not just giving people a brand and saying, this is your brand value, now go live it. Everyone's contributing, putting their own spin on it, and then taking it back to their own offices and presenting it back through their eyes, as opposed to marketing's eyes or the business eyes, as it were.
Thank you. Bob, you see it as marketing, I believe, because it's all about common skills. Yeah. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I think it always has been that marketing is good at the orchestration of the communications. So if even with social media now, you have to have people who are good at social media or that know that's their role. You can't just have anyone doing it. And in the old days, we trained people up to be press aware, press trained, and all the rest of it. Now with the communications, we've still got to do that, and it has to be orchestrated, and it has to be part of a broader picture. The only other thing I'd say is about the these systems that allow people to collaborate internally. And again, I think that's something that should sit with marketing too, because it's all about the orchestration of the message and the power it gives senior people to get their message across to the entire workforce through these systems, as opposed to sending out a blanket email. It's a much better approach to be able to have a real-time video or something like that is getting out to a lot of people.
Okay. Steve, where should it sit?
Well, I think, first of all, clearly brand is really a set of values. Those values need to be created by all the senior stakeholders in the business and live throughout the business. And the Human Resource Department has a very important role in terms of helping live those brand values internally. But ultimately, we exist for our customers, and a brand needs to live in the minds of our customers. So we start with what are our customers' needs and what are the values we provide to address those needs. Now, to be close to the customer, you've got to be close to the customer, and that is what a marketing function should be. So without question, in my mind, it sits with marketing.
Okay. I also believe that, for what it's worth. Chris, you described some of the internal employee engagement piece as being a challenge sometimes, and that it can be like pushing water uphill. How do we push it downhill?
Well, I think it's very much about having a shared responsibility. So I think although marketing has a very prominent role, I think it has to be a shared role. I don't think we can just take on an autonomous responsibility for those internal comms. So I think particularly with the executive leadership and particularly with the HR groups, we actually have to have a shared role. I think as marketers, we often think about our role to be outward facing and customer facing uniquely. and those are very, very important. But I think we also need to do a role of internal communication. What is the value that marketing also brings to the organisation? To avoid those "what do marketing do" type questions, which I think we all hate. And so we actually need to be very strong in communicating that and communicating the values of our brand and our programs inside the business.